You know, the Guardian should change its name to The Telegraph. I am an avid Guardian hate reader. It pops up when they ask me for money saying, you've read 2,000 articles so far this year. You're one of our top readers in the world. But saying that, on my other computer, it comes up, you've read 250 articles this year. You're one of our top readers in the world. So, you know, that appeal to sort of narcissism doesn't actually work. But I like to read The Guardian because that's the official version of reality. That's the Bible of the left. So if it's in The Guardian, that's the news that's being fed to those with the, you know, Guardian confirmation bias. I had it once where a Labour canvasser on my doorstep who just laid into me with things that I'd read that day in The Guardian. I'm like, oh, have you read the Guardian website today? All nonsense, all fucking fearmongering, all half-truth and innuendo. Sources say. Well, this week, they've been putting out articles, or were putting out articles from about Monday, claiming that the police, because they don't question anything, they just repeat whatever they're told by the authority. So that they're the mouthpiece of the government because they don't question anything. And they've got no discernment at all as to what might just be fluff, as to ignore that. Where most other newspapers ignore certain fluff stuff that comes from the state because the state makes itself look stupid. They don't protect the state, they just rebroadcast. Monday time they were saying, like, the police, we've got special trained agents on social media and we've got reliable inside intelligence. Like, who are these people who are feeding information? Well, they're not going to tell us. It's obviously as sources say. They were quoting a think tank that I'd never heard of until Monday. And then you go away and find the website and like, wow, this has been set up real quick. Who the fuck are these people? And this think tank had given them inside information that a list of hotels that are housing immigrants has been posted online. And I mentioned it in that video I made yesterday. You could have probably just Googled that information. If you really wanted it, you could just go and get it anyway. So the fact that they were saying that it had been distributed, and then the police have decided to act on that, and the government have decided to act on that, and the Guardian have decided to act on that, and they're putting out stories, 100 planned protests. You think people are going to riot in Walthamstow? They've got no reason to. They likely don't have to wait 5 weeks for a doctor's appointment and 7 months for an MRI scan in Walthamstow. They've got no reason to riot. Even those who are disaffected and disappointed about immigration are not going to protest and riot in Walthamstow. They're sat in their homes. They're not going anywhere. So they've telegraphed their intentions to, we've a standing army of 6,000 extra policemen. And it's like, no one's turned up. You know why no one's turned up? Because nothing was planned. We have a government with a big problem with confirmation bias that have already decided what it's all about. And to them, it's about something simplistic that they can understand, so it's a matter of its projection. We've got a stupid government and a stupid establishment now that are rattled and they're panicking and they're doubling down. So what we have instead is anti-fascist or anti-racist protests. And if you look at they're all using the same photograph of today that's got lots of brown faces in it. But then you look at other photographs, you look at other footage and it's like waving Palestine flags. People who are masked up and tooled up, who turned up looking for a fight, and it's like, yeah. I'd say this, far-right demonstrators don't take their cues from the Guardian's inside sources. We don't know yet whether it's a psyop, a brilliant idea to trap these people, to give them the beating they deserve, or else they've just been trolled. the result doesn't matter which it is. It's one of the two because nobody turned up. But we don't know what it was. But it's being hailed today as a victory, and it's cringe, and it was extremely predictable that is what the outcome would be. Regardless of what happens, this is a victory. And you look at these great big crowds of the usual suspects carrying those Socialist Workers' Party stands against racism. It's like the renter mob that turns up for everything that the left wants done. They just all turned up. So you look at that crowd, I look at the crowd and I say the LGBT, the Greens, and everybody who works for the government have turned up. Well, you see, everybody who works for the government have turned up because in all these places, they let them out of work early and closed down their offices, actually shut down, and let them go home early to turn up for a midweek demonstration. They were like, in the interests of safety, we're closing early. The shops all closed early. Some shops went to the length of boarding up their windows, and it's like, no one's coming. This is going to be a love-in. This is the government have arranged a show of strength by giving you the afternoon off. So you look at it and it's just cringe and it means nothing. But it rallies the troops, doesn't it? It rallies the troops. It brings together the loyalists. It's like these are backdoor political rallies that were set in motion. When they've got this information, like, hey, we can exploit this, we can use this to marshal the troops. And what an impressive bunch of people. Zealots. All in the street looking like fools getting fucking wet through. But it's a victory, you see. That's the word that's been used today by The Guardian. Victory. We scared them away. It's like, all right, so that's the end, is it? You think people who are disaffected, you think the 80% of this country that didn't vote for Labour, the 45% of the population disenfranchised who didn't vote, you think they've gone away? It's asinine. Again, they've either been trolled or they've set up a clever psyop that's backfired and then turned it into something else so not to look stupid. That's what they've done. It's obvious. There's people on Twitter last night who were like posted me a couple of days before predicting what would happen, saying, I called it, and it's like, how could you not call it? It was telegraphed. If you've got any brains in your head, it was telegraphed. But the opposition, the far right, the establishment have decided that these people are stupid, brainless, as if they could sometimes leave out, you know, like, it's quite easy to catch animals if you leave out the right bait. That's what they think of the people who are protesting. That's alarmingly dangerous that that's what the government think, because that leaves them open to being endlessly trolled. It's like, do you want to put the country out of business? Do you want to make it so the police run out of money? It's obvious what I could say there, but to say that would be, you're inciting terrorist acts against the country by doing the bloody obvious, by understanding that you've got a side here that's got the same confirmation bias as those guys who believe that misinformation about the Muslim guy doing the murders. You're the same people. You've got the same psychological problems. You are of the same ilk as those who are rioting. You can be tricked in exactly the same way. So that they've just now demonstrated to the whole world that they can be very, very easily tricked because of confirmation bias, because that's the nature of tricking someone. I'll hark back to what I was saying before about The Guardian. You've read 2,000 articles this year. You're special. Other computer, you've read 200 articles this year. You're special. You're special because you read The Guardian. You're in the know. You get it. You've got a consciousness. You have virtue. You read The Guardian. That's confirmation bias. That's like poor, really cringy salesmanship that they think works. That doesn't work on people who can think for themselves. They find it nauseating, and it's also a form of gaslighting to those who know better. You've been condescended to, you're having smoke blown up your arse, and only people who seek that kind of validation actually fall for that. So we've now, because people have been alarmed and whipped up by the old media. I'm not saying that this weekend's rioting hasn't been a bit alarming, because I feel it too, but I'm not stupid. I don't think of those mobs, even the ones who are idiots who do things, it's pack mentality. I don't think of them as being dumb, unwashed, stupid plebs and oiks. I don't think that. I think they're people likely of low character, but they're not stupid people of low character. To assume that they are just knuckle-dragging idiots is always a mistake. You leave yourself then open to be surprised by them. And then the next thing they pull off would be a shock, because you assume that they're absolutely stupid. I don't know what the state of 4chan is these days. But those artists on 4chan will be looking at the actions of the British establishment and government and saying, oh my God, we can play these people like fiddles forever if we want to. No harm done. The police are scouring social media looking for plans. It's like, well, let's leave them some plans, shall we? It's like, how stupid can you be? But that's what we've got now. We've got stupid in power being supported by even more stupid. Because I will point to that crowd and say, you are stupid. You're completely emotionally driven. All about virtue. Those poor people on those boats. They're targeting the Muslim community. I was listening to Hangouts yesterday afternoon in local communities in the north. A few of them, just flick around, find them. And what's the conclusion I got from listening to Pakistani guys who are local organisers having open hangouts? Well, they had plenty of English northern people ringing up saying something has to be done about these boats, something has to be done about the cost of living crisis, something has to be done about the NHS, and them all being absolute complete agreement. You have 5 weeks for a doctor's appointment. Do you know what the state of the NHS is? I'll tell you, because I know, because I'm like an acute care patient. I'm like a priority patient. I go straight to the front of the queue. Do you know what instructions I've got from the NHS? Don't ring your GP if you have any problems. Dial 999 and we'll just come and pick you up in an ambulance. And I don't have to wait anymore. They put me straight on a ward. How many times have you used that this year? 3 times. 3 times hospitalised because I needed medical attention. Where in a normal world you would call out the doctor, but to call out the doctor takes 5 weeks. The doctors now will only come out to see you if you're dying, and it even says so on the little recorded message. They cocked up my prescription. My doctor's surgery went against my specialist, saying you don't need to be on this medication, it's too expensive. Seriously, they've done it twice. We need to put you on something else, this is too expensive. And my specialists are like, that's what's keeping you alive, that's what's making it so when you have a funny turn you don't end up in hospital. And my GP surgery have looked twice at my repeat prescription and said, no, that medication costs £1,000 a month. We're not letting him have that. Twice, didn't it? And twice I've had to get the coronary department to ring them up and say, what are you playing at? How long does it take to get that sorted out when they cock it up? About 3 days. What happens when I come off that medication for 3 days? It goes out of my system after 36 hours. I'll be on it for the rest of my life. And my doctor's surgery, not the doctors, the admin staff, they've decided that it's too expensive for me to take that. Oh, I shouldn't be getting this. It's expensive. We have to order this in especially from the manufacturer. That's what we're talking about. Yeah, John, don't worry about it. Don't deal with them anymore. Just call 999. Explain to them that you're a heart patient and you're having an episode. And we'll just come along in an ambulance and pick you up. In the same world as you could be having a heart attack. Heart attacks are very, very nasty. I don't like heart attacks. Heart attacks they're frightening. If you panic, you're dead. You're dead. If you panic, you're dead. If your attitude goes to shit, you're dead. But they're really frightening. And I've been paralysed. Can't move your body, having a heart attack. And be able to talk on the phone just about. Can't breathe. So you struggle to communicate. And you're struggling to communicate, you get your vital information to them, and it's like, throwing out your address in syllables. And they ask you, what are your preferred pronouns?